G'day everyone, welcome back to ECITV. We've got a guest here today.
Guest? I missed one episode.
I know who it is.
Special guest.
I know who it is, I don't have to guess. Anyway, welcome aboard. And like last episode, we were just talking about it. We mentioned that we sort of signed off with Merry Christmas just in case we didn't see you again, but looks like we have squeezed another one in before Christmas, so hence the red hat. So bit of Christmas cheer, so happy Merry Christmas to everyone out there, and
I got my Santa bot, I don't need a hat.
And you've got your decorations on.
Yeah, that's it.
Permanently. Anyway, what we're going to cover today is whether the long-awaited new profile cranks have arrived, along with a few other bits and pieces, but I thought we'd kick it off with that. What do you reckon, Shane?
Sounds good. So we managed to smuggle these in from the Grands, where they were highlighted or showcased for the very first time. So what was that, a couple of weeks ago now?
Yeah, we probably only just got them in our hands here from the Grands at the start of the week. Got them in Monday.
Yep.
So we've had a little bit of a chance to play with them. Not much, not enough. We haven't had a chance to even to fit them to a bike yet. We did only end up with Euro bottom brackets, outboard Euro bottom brackets for some reason, because someone thought that
Here we go again.
or BB86s and BB92s aren't really needed. They're just on 99% of the frames these days.
They don't fit on my bike.
No, that's it. So so we've only got Euro, so it is a bit limited as to what we can fit them to. But S-squares and everything, of course, and supercrosses, not a problem.
So currently, there are only two options.
In bottom brackets?
In bottom brackets.
That's correct. Outboard Euro, which is what's fitted on this one here, and a BB86 stroke 92s, which is majority of frames these days.
So with a 30mm spindle,
Correct?
the profile option is the only option?
Yes, I believe. I don't think... Is there other 30mm spindles out there at the moment? I don't know, but...
Not like that.
The configuration of these anyway, like I said, we haven't really had a chance to play with them yet. There are some shims and everything, so whether they would suit other bottom brackets or not, it may not. So obviously the recommendation would be to run with the profile BBs at this stage until we can research it a little bit more.
So those that are new to the Elite AL, they're an aluminium version of the Elite crank.
Correct?
So they're milled out, which will try to give you some better angles on different video cameras. Milled out behind to try and reduce the weight but maintain the strength. And you can see they're still quite big if you compare them to Gary here. They're quite chunky looking, but that was...
Oh, if you compare them to Gary. Chunky looking.
Gary's lost a lot of weight.
Not
That's what he means. They're chunky. They look chunky because
Compared
you're
to me,
leaning
because
out.
I've lost some weight. Yeah.
So we should start seeing a lot more of these than we see of the chromoly cranks because they're machining them and not requiring fabrication.
I think that's been the hold up at Profile for probably since post-COVID, basically, is the welding. It just seems as though anything that requires welding, and I think we've touched on it before, is slow for production. So things that are machined, like stems and chain rings and et cetera, production seems to be ticking along quite well. So the fact that these are alloy machined means that supply of these shouldn't be interrupted by the shortage of welders.
So one other thing they've seemed to address with this is a smaller Q factor. I don't know if you guys have noticed that. It should have got an
I
Elite
didn't
crank.
until you mentioned it, and
Yeah,
I checked it out the other day.
We tested it out yesterday, and it is a reduced Q factor. Yep.
So I was talking to Corey about it, and he said it was a good opportunity to address that. Personally, I like a wider stance. I can only see a narrow Q factor being an advantage when you're riding those road bikes with a...
Well, we spoke about it yesterday, and it's also a bit of an age thing, because, don't take this the wrong way, but broad hips...
I'm old. Look at you.
But I don't ride.
Still pedaling.
Broad hips are suited for a wide Q factor.
Oh, yeah.
You know, whereas a younger kid and everything, that's why the Q factor is such an important thing for juniors and junior cranks. So reducing that Q factor and the fact that these start at 165, well, will start at 165 mil, a reduced Q factor will probably be handy for that. For those who aren't aware of what we're talking about too, a Q factor is basically the angle of the crank pedal sits out from the bottom bracket. So a reduced Q factor means it just sits a bit narrower into the bike.
So I've heard people say with profile, the chromoly version of profile cranks, they bang their ankles, but with a reduced Q factor, would it mean
It'd be less chance.
less chance?
Less
Okay.
chance of it because the crank arm's angled in away from your ankle, I would say. And you can, it's logical. I think Ryan touched on it yesterday when we were talking about it, that a wider Q factor for someone with smaller hips means you're pedaling out here, exaggerated of course,
out.
and a reduced Q factor is and that's where
So it
a
hasn't
wider
affected
stance,
me, 'cause
a
I've
wider
got
stance for you.
childbearing
I went to mention childbearing hips, and I thought no, probably PC. So. Yeah, but they are a slightly reduced Q factor, and it wasn't a great deal when you looked at it
Still
yesterday.
a quarter of an inch.
Oh, it was a quarter of an inch.
Yeah.
So
Oh,
that
really?
much.
That's
Yeah,
quite large.
That's huge.
So when you look at this, the way that the spider now bolts on, basically that's about the same width as what the Elite is before they've even put the spider on.
Oh, right.
So the Q factor is almost the width of the spider, is what you're
Yeah.
saying there.
Yeah.
Jeez, okay, that's a lot.
So maybe we should show that to the camera. So there's 8 little tiny bolts holding that spider on.
And they're torque bolts. So they look pretty neat, and especially with the silver and black like that, it looks awesome.
Oh, the spindle we need to show. It's no longer the fitted little 48 splines.
We'll peel this open because I've got that one already on a. Just throw that in
So it's
the
more of an-
filing cabinet.
More of an ISIS style spline system, so a lot easier to line your cranks up.
Yeah,
But it's just tapered, you
Tapered,
said.
yeah.
yeah, it's slightly tapered. It does reduces the need for a spacer tube, which is what profile cranks have always been renowned for.
Also, you don't have to bash the garbage out of them to get them off.
No, well, it's actually got a built-in crank remover. So basically, with the crank arms, the flush mount bolt, if you want to call it that, is built into the cranks. So to put these on, you just line up the splines and tighten that, and it draws the crank arm on. And then obviously the reverse of that, if you need to take your cranks off, you just undo that and it'll draw the crank arms off. So it's virtually a fitting and removal tool built into the crank arm already.
I really like the way that, with the AC2 cranks, hubs, as well, they've thought more about reducing the number of tools that you need. And so it makes fitting and removing so much simpler.
Yeah, you always lose your crank removing tool or something like that, whereas this is all built in. What they've done to address the fact that there's no centre spacing tube is they've got like a preload virtually on the left-hand crank arm. So you can see that there. That will give you your adjustment, your tension. So you can get that to where it's spinning really smooth and no movement. And then there's a locking grub screw. So once you back that off or tighten it to get it just spinning perfectly, you lock that and then that's it. It's fitted into...
And that's only on the non-drive side?
Correct, yeah. Well, the drive side's got your spider built in and the non-drive side's got your... And we'll zoom this in on one of the cameras. And yeah, so beautiful looking crank arm, like really impressive. It's a bit of a shame because I only ordered black in our first drop, and it wasn't until we got these samples in this week that a silver set turned up, and I thought that looks pretty trick with the black and silver. So I haven't got any of these coming in our first delivery, but I'll have these coming in shortly.
Well, that's what I was going to say. When you said that there's 2 options, I was going to say, well, no, there's not. There's only black because Ryan gets the silver ones.
Once we get the correct bottom bracket. Yeah.
That's
One
right.
of the questions I had when they were making these was if there'd been an insert with a thread for the pedal. So it's good to see it's all just machined into the crank arm itself.
But
So
it does supply with a... Yep, sorry.
What are they?
Pedal insert washers.
So make sure if you ever use these cranks or
100%.
cranks like them, use those washers or you're going to cause all sorts of problems for yourself later on.
That's something we almost do need to cover because we get that on a weekly basis here. Any alloy crank arm that doesn't have a chromoly pedal insert built into the crank arm, if it is just an aluminium threaded crank arm, you must run a pedal insert washer that just sits there and the pedal tightens up against that. If you don't run that, it'll start to flog out the crank arm and destroy a $1,000 set of cranks or a $200 or $100. It doesn't matter what it is. It'll just destroy the crank arms. You can drill it out and helicoil it or whatever, but it's just it's just a mess. You don't want to mess it.
Get a washer.
So
And these are, you can buy these separately. So if you do lose them, a lot of people do. They'll take the cranks off. They'll take the pedals off to change it or to practice on flats or whatever. Drop this, but you must then chase up another set. They're fairly universal, and we've always got them in stock, and most bike shops will. So yeah, that's a must on any alloy crank arm.
So what else is different about these that we haven't covered already?
The sizings at this stage, they're only available in 175. Their intention is to have 165, 170s, 175, 175, 177.5.
172.
172.5.
Yeah,
No 177s.
yeah, 172.5, 175, and then 180s. But obviously it's a production thing, so they've released the most popular, the 175s, at this stage. It's still a bit. I'm still a bit uncertain as to what you get in the package. I believe it's crank arms and spindle. The bottom bracket and spider are purchased separately, but there's a little bit of.
So we got the packaging for, is that just a spindle and crank arms?
Yes.
And it's just a standard looking crank box. We don't know yet if it's going to come in a special box like the Elite cranks did.
I don't know. Honestly, we very limited to the amount of information, and as early as last night, I'm still communicating with Profile trying to get details on it. So, yeah, hopefully by the time this goes to air, we should have pricing and everything, which we will display here.
Yep.
If
the editor could be bothered.
Shane can be bothered. So yeah, that's how new it all is. I mean, it really is just we've known of them for a fair while, but the information's been very limited. We were able to get a spec sheet on them. Well, Shane was able to find a spec sheet on them, so we'll probably include that in a link or whatever somehow. But yeah, so it's very new, very raw, but very exciting as well.
Only they're raw, they're finished with black.
No, that's it. No. it has got an unusual, but how would you describe the finish on
Brushed. Or, I mean, it's fairly raw machined, but I'd call it brushed alloy.
Yeah, so it's got lines going.
So I've noticed lines like that on the top caps of their stems. And so one of the questions I had was, when I went to the States last year and I went to the factory, I asked, why can't you machine the top cap the same as you can machine the base of the stem? And they're like, oh no, it's only a stylized thing. So you can see around here, there's no lines, it's just here. And it's because
So
they
it's
like the
intentional.
style. Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, it depends what you get off on. If you're a machining nerd or whatever.
Don't let him
Please,
near your
yeah.
cranks.
No, I've definitely. Look, I've been finger bashing these for a week, so trust me, these things have been invaded. But I mean, it's a good signature look. I like it. You know.
Oh, absolutely.
All the machine work on it. I mean, it's a fair bit of work's gone into them. It's incredible. They've gone from. It felt like it's only a couple of months ago you're talking about. You know, oh, the rumour, Corey's saying that they're going to make an alloy crank. The Grams just after Grams last year,
Yeah.
and Grams this year. Here we are.
I wonder how long until someone hits this on a buff and just turns it
I'm
high polished.
rethinking.
Like I'm looking at that thing, and I've got a big buff wheel at home that I'd just love to bringing that down to a mirror finish. So yeah.
Yeah, no,
Whether that avoids a warranty or not, I don't know. So what else do we need to cover on those?
Probably just the colour options. So there's the silver and the black in the crank arms, but only black as far as hardware, is that right?
No, the spiders come in silver or black as well.
Okay.
Yeah. According to the information you supplied me.
Bottom
So
bracket,
obviously you didn't
bottom
read it.
bracket, Spider. Oh yeah, there you go, black and silver.
She's almost like I read it.
You
So
got-
yeah, the crank arms themselves come in silver or gloss black. The silver ones come with the black. What would you call that?
Anodized.
Flush mount bolt.
Oh, I don't know what they call it. It's like mountain bike
It's
shit,
a
isn't it?
built-in flush mount
Don't
bolt.
know.
But yeah, so, and the spiders come in two options. The bottom bracket at this stage just comes in black. So yeah, the spiders are either in silver or black. But I mean, why would you go away from that?
So I just noticed that all the cranks have this flush mount bolt in them. Does that not come out?
No.
You can take it out though
you
with
can.
a torque star.
Oh.
So that'll screw out for servicing and maintenance and stuff like that. But
And
it stays in there for the actual bolt on the inside to push against it.
Okay.
But it is removable. Like I said, I've had a bit of a play this week.
Oh, so
you got the 8 mil on the inside?
8 mil on the inside and the torque star on
Yeah.
the outside. So that cap there, if you put a torque star in there, you can undo that cap and the guts come
Yep,
out
yep.
with it. Okay, that's pretty cool.
So- and that-
This gives you an indication of how new they are.
Yeah.
We really are, like you're finding out about them as we are.
Yeah, it's a group thing. It's a group thing. That's what I mean. There's so many things that obviously they've adopted from mountain biking that we're not used to seeing. I wouldn't even know what that's called. So we're just making up names as we go.
Pre-tensioner, we're calling it. I
the
don't know.
spinny knurly
The
thing.
spinning knurly thing that makes it spin smooth.
Yeah. But
So-
I mean, I think you said before, Shane, which is bang on, like the serviceability that they've made with the AC2 hubs. You no longer have to press your bearings out.
Yeah.
And these, like, we're used to it where, you know, you put in your removal tool, you knock your spindle out and, or your crank arm, and it's nothing. The average Joe sitting at home is scared to sort of hit that thing with a hammer. They go,
yeah.
it won't come out. No, mate, you got to hit it. This is like, again, the average factory dad will sit there and have a blast with.
So we had factory dad moments, didn't we? We had a comparison of weights. So
Yeah.
the crank arm itself is actually heavier than a Chromoly Elite crank arm.
Yes.
But with the spindle and the bottom bracket, the whole kit is actually
Yes.
10 grams lighter, including bottom bracket, spider, crank
Yeah.
arm, spindle.
Yeah.
What we haven't done yet is a comparison versus a DXR crank or...
We have. I wouldn't remember off the top of my head. And that was the thing, like I mentioned to you, I made the mistake of weighing it with the bottom bracket as where the weights that you'll get with the Behringer or DXRs isn't with a bottom bracket. So
So we need to weigh
as soon as you
them
take that
now.
away, it actually becomes quite competitive
Yeah.
in the weight. And I mean, obviously the bottom bracket and the spindle, they've saved so much weight that they can afford to beef the crank arms up. So
Yeah, well, I mean, that spindle, there's nothing in that. As solid as it is,
Yeah.
it's still a very light
Yeah.
spindle.
yep. And then once you're loaded up with the outboard bottom bracket as well, the strength's all there. So there's lots of little things, you know, I love my elite cranks and stuff like that. So when they sort of release these, I'm thinking they've got to be something pretty special.
Pretty good to make you swap.
Yeah. Yeah, so I'm pretty keen.
And the one of the concepts of these crank arms is to cover a few different markets. And I know we're specifically talking BMX race, but these are marketed for BMX race, e-bike, or downhill.
Well, actually, it's on the crank box with the spindle length.
Yeah, I'm actually pretending that I can read that.
You got no glasses.
So BMX,
Give 'em to
BMX
professionals.
mountain bike or
Yeah.
track, mountain bike downhill, mountain bike cross country enduro. Okay, so it covers all disciplines of mountain biking.
Yep.
It actually doesn't specify e-bike. Now I know initially they were talking about the fact that it was e-bike compatible, which means that these crank arms could screw straight onto a Bosch or whatever Shimano motor. But we'll have to clarify that. But yeah, because it's not specified. Although that is just the axle. Now, obviously,
That's just for lengths.
yeah, but obviously you don't have an e-bike axle.
No.
So that's just what the axles are suitable for. But I'm pretty sure, maybe in that documentation, it says that they are suitable for e-bike as well. But anyway, we'll clarify that as well.
Probably should have read that earlier.
Well, the fact that there's silver and black spiders.
It does say that the spider and bottom bracket are sold separately and are not included in the crank set. So that makes me think that you're probably right. They probably sell it so that you can just buy the arms and bolt them straight onto an e-bike.
Yeah. Hence why the spindles here are packaged and sold separate. You're right. Whereas maybe the BMX, you do buy, these came in with a spin. Oh, actually they didn't. They just come in with crank arms, didn't they?
Right.
Yeah, so the spindles and everything were separate. So yeah, maybe it is to suit that e-bike market. You can just buy the crank arms totally separate. So
There have to be more than one reason to step away from a 48 spline.
Oh, absolutely.
After how many years?
It's been their bread and butter for 40-something years.
Yeah.
that's what they're known for, isn't it? Well and truly. So, yeah, if you've got any questions, ask Shane.
You want to answer some of
I'm
ours?
pretty good at shrugging the shoulders.
But anyway, exciting times. It's been a while since the elite cranks have been on the market, so it's good to see something else come in and fill a little bit of a void. And I think probably one of the problems that everyone has suffered for a long time is the availability of DXRs. So a bit limited in sizing, but also availability. Whereas hopefully with these, like I said, being machined, Profile believe they're going to fill that market.
Well, also manufactured in USA, and not too many cranks out there can say that. And you know, with Profile, it's all high quality stuff. They do a lot of quality assurance to make sure that you get the best product there is. So it's just another.
These have been tested for probably 12 months, haven't they?
Race tested for at least 6.
Yeah. So they do put a fair bit of effort into it. So.
Yeah.
And the thing I do like about it, if there is something identified that can be improved, they will make amendments on the hop. They did that with the elite cranks. They came up with a concept of the expander spindle type thing and then they realised that there was people that it worked extremely well, but there was too many people that wouldn't read the instructions and just think they'd tighten it up and end up fracturing the original spindle. So on the hop, they just turned around and said, okay, we'll just supply them with titanium, 48 spline, 22mm spindle, solve the problem, and just replaced everyone's original chrome ollie spindles with titanium, no questions asked. So if there are improvements to be made, they will do that on the hop, which is one of the good things about not dealing with Asia or something. You're dealing with a local manufacturer in America that do all their own design and manufacture, and it can be sorted out as it goes along. But these seem really nice.
And given that they're made in St. Pete, I remember reading here somewhere that they're, where is it, lifetime warranty, the original owner? I can't see it now. Maybe I was making that up.
I was going to question that because I wasn't too sure whether these carried the normal lifetime warranty that Profile cranks are renowned for. So I didn't see it in that documentation.
Sure,
unless
I read
missed
it
that.
somewhere.
Yeah, that pretty well covers those new elite ALs. I will have them here probably, I'd say, week and a half. So what are we?
Just in time for Christmas.
I'd say, probably. Yeah, we're shut between Christmas and New Year, so Ryan might be here unloading them, and so definitely we'll have them in stores in the new year. So we're closing between Christmas and New Year, so they'll definitely be here during that period, and we'll be able to showcase them at BSX or Track Attack or whatever earlier in the year. So if you see any of us three wandering around there, come up and have a chat to us about it. Well, maybe these two.
Someone will be down the beach.
I'll be down the beach. On water or underwater.
Oh, actually, I'll be away
you
straight
will?
after BSX.
Okay, so
I'll
see
be
this
at the
guy.
beach.
Okay. Where are you off to?
I'm going to Cairns for 4 days or something, straight after BSX.
With or without bike?
Without.
Yeah. With fam.
That's why it's only 4 days.
Yeah.
Yeah, couldn't do a week without a bike, could you?
No. So just, we thought we'd cover some other things. And about a week or two ago, Cam Small from Crisp and Mac and all the other things he does, PROAM, sent me this little magazine that they've done, which I guess isn't so recent now. It's been around for a little while. I think they had them for sale at the Nationals, but I mean, I've always loved BMX magazines. I've got tubs of them at home that I like to go back and read, even though I've been doing Ultra for over 25 years now, and I probably helped kill off magazines, to be honest. This is more or less a Crisp brochure, which has lots and lots of awesome photos, some products that are coming out, interviews with their riders. But there was one that I thought Gary would be interested in, Dean Patch interviewing here when he used to ride for Crisp back in the day when he was racing pro.
I've actually got his original Crisp factory jersey.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow. Mac plates. There's just heaps of cool stuff in here. Anthony Dean interview.
Incredible quality. I had a flick through it before we started filming, and even though it is a crisp brochure, it is a great read.
Oh yeah.
It's a fantastic.
I love that new magazine smell.
I thought it was just me, but that's before we started. I'm flicking through it and I couldn't put it down.
Yeah.
And it felt good to not be doing this on your phone
Yeah.
or whatever. Actually be holding something. I didn't even think of it as like a crisp catalogue, because all the top writers you're interested in reading about and that sort of stuff,
Yeah.
and good pictures, and even
So
the
well put
artwork that's in
together.
there and stuff like that. It was just good to hold a magazine again.
Yeah. And I mean, Cam Small's a designer, so there's, you know, wouldn't expect it to be amazing, but it is. I mean,
Yeah.
Oh yeah, for sure.
the way it's laid out, you couldn't expect.
And-
The magazines back in the day weren't this good.
And price-wise, $14.95. Brilliant. I mean, that is so cheap.
Yeah.
Yeah, very good.
This is only volume 2. I remember volume 1 maybe came out probably prior to COVID. I
Okay.
do have that somewhere, so I'll have to dig that up and put them together. Yeah, but this is great. And the illustrations at the back, I don't know if you noticed those. Whole bunch of old school stuff, but also there's a bunch of new riders in there as well. Somewhere, let's skip to them. Can't find them now, but trust me, they're in there. Great little magazine. I'm sure that's going to sit on my desk for ages.
Where do you find it? Do you know?
I probably should. I did see that Ace had them for sale. Ace seemed to do a lot of the crisp and Mac stuff. So they're
It's okay for local people hitting up, Tommy at
I
Ace
think
or
they got an
whatever.
online
But
store as well.
Oh, okay.
I'll have a look, but I'm pretty sure they do.
I might have to get a copy myself for the coffee table here.
Yeah, I think I'm going to have to turn to the editor and ask him to put a little link at the bottom of the screen, because I can't remember. But I did see them available on, I think it's the Crisp website, but I couldn't tell you the URL.
Okay.
In other news, we noticed Toby Henderson's separated from ABC, an American BMX company, just this week. So he's taking a couple of the smaller brands, THE, I think Sindit, the new brand that they just kicked off at the Grands.
I was very surprised. Oh, not surprised, obviously. THE's Toby Henderson Enterprises, but it's good to see that he's possibly looking at resurrecting that, because I've got a heap of THE stickers here that no one knows why do you want a "the" sticker, but so come on Toby, let's make THE famous again so I can sell all these stickers I got.
I do know he's looking for distribution for Sindit here in Australia, so if anyone out there has the capacity to service, what are they, BMX race frames, I think there's about 13 sizes, but also they do some of the little electric bikes as well.
Yeah.
So it'd be cool to see some of those here. What other news?
BSX? What's happening with BSX?
Oh, BSX. So just today, actually, we had the gate extended, which is going to help us make the event a little bit safer for riders, but also a bit quicker to crank riders through on the gate. And it also looks a lot better, so I'll pop up a photo of that. But a lot of thanks goes to Paul Brincat, the guys at Alley Cat Engineering, I think they're called, and Paradigm, who together were able to produce the gate extension for us. What else is going on? A few more sponsors have come on board. Still chasing out lots of prizes. Actually, it's this time of the year where I'm racking my brain as to what's raffle, what's auction, and maybe we'll even make some available outside of BSX, so you don't actually have to be there to win a bike.
Especially with some of the big ticket items.
Yeah.
I think, we're discussing that, and I mean, it's for the benefit of the Royal Children's Hospital. So, the bigger market we can hit with the bigger ticket items, and I say we as though I'm involved, but I'm not, believe me.
As a sponsor, you are.
Yeah, that's right, but this guy does most of the work. So, it's definitely worthwhile, looking outside to try and raise as much money as you can.
Yeah. One thing I will mention is we've got a S&M jersey signed by Chris Moeller that we will be putting up on our Facebook page. So it's BSX Inc. Facebook page as an auction item. So there's one thing that people can get outside, and there's potential that we might have to discuss with the big man here about a frame
Yep.
of the chase variety
Yep.
that will do the same. So we'll let you know, or go and check out Instagram or Facebook at BSX Inc.
And one of the advantages, we were talking about this, and I think it's pretty well set, that ECI will donate a Chase RSP5 frame. And the good part about it is via our website, you'll be able to see what we've got in stock. So even though you're bidding on a frame, which may be a pro, if you want to change that to a junior in whatever colour, if we've got it in stock, we're more than happy. That's what the prize will be. So if you're bidding on this frame that we're going to donate, keep in mind that you can select whatever frame we've got in stock in RSP5.
And if they're not from Victoria, are we able to ship that out to them anywhere in Australia?
Yeah, that's not an issue. That'll whatever you pay for the frame will include postage anywhere in Australia.
As far as BSX goes, we do have our stubby holders, which we brought into the last show. They're available for sale right now. T-shirts will be arriving any day now, potentially tomorrow. So if anyone wants to, and they haven't yet, got a Christmas gift for the BMXer in their family, make sure you hit us up through social media, and we can get that out to you as soon as possible. So the T-shirts look ace. They're probably even better than last year's, which
I reckon last year's were brilliant.
people are commenting on all the time. And yeah, really excited about getting those out to people before the event. We're happy to get rid of them early.
So we have them available this Sunday?
Hopefully, if they arrive tomorrow. Otherwise, it'll be from Monday.
Yep.
Yeah.
That was Q plug your ride day.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. That's if the editor gets.
I was going to
around.
say, it's Thursday. Can you get this show on the road?
We're hoping that to have a ride day this Sunday. Every time I announce a ride day, it rains. It's almost like washing a car, really. But there's potential for running one on the weekend before BSX, before Track Attack as well, I should say.
Oh, okay.
So just in the new year.
So you don't race Track Attack, do you? Because you just and especially this year because you got the lead up for BSX and then you're heading straight to Cairns after it. So there'll be no Track Attack for you this year.
No, because the first Saturday and Sunday we're flat out. There's a very small crew that help out getting the track ready, getting the whole event ready. So too busy those 2 days. Tuesday I'm still unable to walk normally. Thursday just starting to get my head stop my head from spinning, and then sometimes Saturday and Sunday we might do a round or 2 rounds of Track Attack, which is always fun. You know, going in there when everyone's buggered and
cooked.
you got a fresh set of legs.
Yeah, you and Glenn would turn up and then
But this year you won't be because you almost jump straight on a plane, don't you? Or next year, I should say.
The following morning at 8 a.m. I'm on my way to Cairns, which will be nice to have a bit of a break. But,
yeah, for sure.
But my head will still be spinning
Bit
and
of
I'll be turning around to come back again. What else do we... there's new chain rings, which we've only got photos of right now from Paradigm. So I think we showed the prototype a couple of months back, which was going to be branded as a Dane Design sprocket. Let me see, where did I put those photos?
Good to see you've done all this preparation. So you doing Track Attack?
yeah, I'm aware.
So the reason why I'm unprepared is while I was driving here, all the way from Kinglake, while I was chewing through hundreds of dollars worth of petrol,
It's all downhill.
I got a phone call from Dane saying, the new sprockets have arrived. So they're called a Pegasus chainring. They're anodized black, made from 70-75 T651 aluminium. They're 4-bolt threaded and available in 41, 42, 44 and 47 tooth. So they're a very nice looking chain ring, I agree, yeah.
Yeah,
And I'll pop the photo up over his face because he's smiling too hard. But I've been running the prototype for quite a while. It's a great sprocket, runs true, I never had a problem with it. And I think it's really cool because it's black.
Too cool.
Very good.
Anything else?
I don't know. I'm already excited for next year because I've been seeing all these elite riders practicing in New Zealand and up
Oh,
at
yeah,
Sling
they're
and stuff
already
like that.
travelling over here.
Yeah. Well, no, there's been like, I know Isaac's went over and he did a session with Rico and stuff like that in New Zealand, and
Laura Smolders was in New Zealand.
was she?
Yeah, or is in New Zealand.
Okay, well, that's what I mean. So it just reminds you that Sleeman's and New Zealand, well, the first couple of rounds of the World Cup are just around the corner.
Yeah, I think
Kicks off early,
an
doesn't it?
email came out earlier this week saying 77 days until
Oh, jeez.
World Cup in at Sleeman.
Yeah.
Still not 100% sure if I'm going there or not. I'd love to, but I've got other things I want to spend my money on. Just to watch.
Like repairing the red van.
Oh, yeah.
That's still not back from the mechanics from last trip.
Yeah. Yeah.
No.
I'm going to fly this time.
I think that'll be retired once I
Yeah.
get it back from the mechanics.
Retired from the BMX scene.
Yeah.
So,
All right, well, that's all I've got.
Yeah. Just want to apologise for a bit of noise going on in the background. We've got a construction site here at the moment with a landscape gardener tearing apart the front of the factory. So if there's a heap of noise in the background, that's all that is. So apart from that, yeah, that's all good. Everything's rocking and rolling, and looking forward to having a Christmas break. Hope everyone stays safe and has a bit of cheer.
Merry Christmas, everybody.
Merry Christmas to everyone, and
for
to you
having
two
me back.
guys
Yeah.
for carrying us through the year. So stay safe, everyone. Cheers.
See ya.